Adoption is to be made easier in the UK. Under the current system, it takes an average of 2 years and 7 months for children to be placed with new prospective parents. The government did hope that simplifying the process will encourage more would-be adopters to come forward. Well, Francesca Polini is an adoptive parent. She unsuccessfully did try to adopt in the UK, so ended up going to Mexico. As you can see, she's with us here in the studio. So tell us what happened to you and your partner, Francesca, when you tried to adopt in the UK.
We rang our local council, which is the first port of call, and we said that we wanted to adopt a child in the UK because we knew that at any point in time there's thousands of them available for adoption. And actually over the phone, the first question that we were asked was whether we were both white, and when we said that we were actually denied the possibility of even applying for any of the children available for adoption.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that all of the children available at that point in time in that borough were all not white, so mixed race, black or Asians, and we were white, and that council had put a cap on the number of white parents that could adopt non-white children, which is actually common practice, was and sadly still is in a lot of local authorities, and therefore we weren't even allowed to have a formal interview or even apply, so begin the process to adopt any of those children.
So how frustrating was it for you and your partner to be potential prospective parents offering a loving home to children who didn't have it, and to be told that actually you couldn't?
Well, it was devastating. It was actually somehow infuriating for us, but in a way we ended up succeeding anyway. So within that same conversation, ironically, we were told that we could, however, go and adopt abroad, and that same council in fact approved us to adopt abroad ethnically different children anyway. But the sad thing is that probably the 2 children that we could have adopted in our borough are still shunted around the system in foster care and are never going to find a loving home, because of course as the children get older it becomes more and more difficult for them, a difficult prospect for them to become adopted.
So what did you do? You went to Mexico?
So yes, we sort of almost had to take matters in our hands. We were approved by the UK, but the same local authority. And then we went to Mexico because actually we were approved to with a girl that we had been matched with, but actually only a few days before we were getting on a plane to go to Mexico, the Department of Education sent us an email saying that actually they had made a mistake and we couldn't accept that match anymore. And this was literally days before going to meet who we thought was going to be our daughter. And so we ended up leaving anyway, because we were just days away from taking a long 6-month sabbatical leave to be with what we thought was our daughter. And from then, to be honest, the process back at this end, more from the Department of Education than the local authority side, was absolutely shambles. We had to wait for nearly 4 months for our papers to be literally put in a prepaid envelope that we left on somebody's desk. So even that didn't happen, and until we didn't have those documents, we couldn't prove, obviously, in Mexico that we had been approved to be adoptive parents at this end. We were given by the British Embassy in Mexico City, we were given the wrong visa when we then eventually adopted our daughter in Mexico. And when we came back at the age of 2.5 months, she was arrested at Heathrow, and we were considered child traffickers.
The baby was arrested?
The baby was detained, and her passport and mine were confiscated because we were considered illegal immigrants into the country.
So David Cameron, what he is proposing, suggesting over the last few months, and it does look as though it's gathering a pace now, is exactly what needs to be done, or what else can be done?
Absolutely, it's absolutely heading in the right direction. I've set up a companion organisation called Adoption with Humanity, and however what we do absolutely ask the government to do is to set up a central body at the government level that is able to oversee the implementation of these rules, because just like the transracial rules that were introduced in April and that would overcome the obstacle of interracial adoptions have been introduced, but nothing has happened because the government can't actually check what the local authorities do. The same will happen to what they're trying to introduce now. So absolutely the system needs to be leaner, smoother and more child-centred, but also the government also needs to take the authority over the local authorities and the social workers to ensure implementation.
And you've now adopted 2?
2, yes. Crazily enough, we went back again for the second one, also in Mexico.
And your experience was smoother the second time?
It was, if anything, because we were the first people to adopt from Mexico, from the UK, so I think that added to the complexity of it all. So it certainly was. It was less complicated. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it still took nearly 3 years from beginning to end.
And how old are the children now?
One is 3.5 years and one is 1 year old.
Would you do it again?
Yes, absolutely. But I'd love to do it here. There's so many children here, and I would love to open our home to a child who's just at an arm's reach away.
Do you
and we
see
can
it as a
reach.
possibility?
Not until they set up a central body, I don't think. I think it will just take too long. I'll be way too old by the time I get a child, if I do.
Okay. Francesca, it's great to see you. Thank you
Thank
very much
you.
indeed.
Thanks very
a
much.
lot. Thank you.